World War II is the most discussed event in history, at least from what I've seen. Over the course of my life, we've seen movies and media, entire video game companies have been created off the backs of games that cover that era. The movies, the Saving Private Ryans, you have so much media, Schindler's List. We talk about it so much because it really did reshape the political landscape, setting aside the massive amounts of death and destruction and physical damage to countries and economies being completely wiped off the map. It was a crazy time for the world, and we're still in a post-world era that I don't know has even fully recovered from that to this day. So much has changed since that period. We still call this era the post-war era specifically because of World War II. So as a result, we've had the media, the movies, all of these things talking about it, infinite, unlimited podcasts and mini-series. It's been discussed ad nauseum. And a lot of these things are very meta, right? They look at the entire picture. They look at the European theater, the Pacific theater, what's going on in Northern Africa, all these things, Pearl Harbor, all these massive events. One of the biggest events, and really the major event that led to the Allies being able to successfully fend off the Germans and defeat Hitler, was D-Day. The Allies had to establish a front on the beaches of Normandy, and without that, we would have not driven them out of France and Poland and then wiped them off the map. So I love that we're getting a movie that simply talks about one decision in a sea of millions of decisions that occurred over that period of time. So this movie is called Pressure. It's fantastic. Let's talk about it. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Before we get started, click on the red subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you know whenever I post a new piece of content. So I love this movie. I love movies that have characters that just spend most of the runtime talking. Yes, this movie has moments of action. It shows bits and pieces of the D-Day invasion, but ultimately, this movie is about its title. It's about a man, really 2-3 men, who have to come to this conclusion about whether the D-Day invasion is going to be able to occur on June 5th. There's a massive storm front that is joining with another storm that's rolling across the Atlantic towards Northern Europe and has the potential to completely disrupt the war. Andrew Scott plays James Stagg, who is the Scottish meteorologist who is world-renowned, and ultimately General Eisenhower, who oversees the entire Allied command, brings him in to give him essentially a report on the weather. Hey, we've been planning this huge invasion of France. We've been planning it forever. We really do not have the ability to kick the can down the road. I need a definitive answer from you on whether or not this can go forward. It's a huge decision that has to be made that won't just impact a small battle or a skirmish, but it will impact and turn the tide of the entire war. Essentially, if D-Day fails or it gets pushed down the road and it gets reported on by the press and the Nazis find out about it, the war is lost. The war could be over. If D-Day is successful and we establish that hold on northern France, then we have a shot at liberating Europe and wiping out the Nazis. It's a massive decision. And ultimately, spoiler alert for this movie, it's delayed by a day, inevitably, June 5th to June 6th. And the movie is just this conflict between 3 different characters. There's the American meteorologist, the Scottish meteorologist, and Eisenhower. Andrew Scott is really, really tremendous in this role. He's a bit of a D-bag. He has this very abrasive and direct personality. He's not really able to give General Eisenhower a straight answer on what the weather is going to be like on June 5th, because there's all these different things that could happen, and it's very kind of up in the air, and you can't just look at historical charts. And then there's the American, who's been with Eisenhower for 3 years. and has had these very like predictable weather events that he's been able to just say, yeah, the weather's going to be nice and sunny. You can go ahead and have this fight in Northern Africa. It's going to be fine. And he believes that the weather is just going to be fine and sunny and great. And these two men who have very conflicting viewpoints, one is essentially the weather's going to be great. And the second one is, I don't know, but it could be very bad. And Eisenhower wants a straight answer. And the movie really has these three guys kind of duking it out, trying to figure out what is the right decision to make. I also love that this movie has a ton of gray area. These guys are completely flawed, and they have anger issues, and they have family issues, and they don't know how to talk to each other, and there's the machismo, and they're all trying to ultimately do the right thing, but they're not going about it together. It's just great. It's really, really great. And I honestly was floored by Brendan Fraser. He disappeared off the map for a while, came back, won an Oscar for The Whale. He's tremendous in that movie. And he's really, really great here. Despite not looking anything like Dwight Eisenhower, they just kind of shaved his head and called it a day. But he really brings a tremendous amount of intensity and gravitas to this role and completely dominates every single scene that he's in. I think this is a great movie. It's lean. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. It's just dudes talking and getting mad at each other and trying to figure out if they can save the world. It's a great movie. I love seeing films that dig into one single aspect of a greater conflict, and this really does a fantastic job of that. So love this movie. It's called Pressure. It's great. It's one of my favorite movies of 2026 thus far. Thank you so much for watching the review. If you liked it, found it helpful, consider hitting me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. Am I way off base? Is it great? And I will see you next Saturday at 12 p.m.